It's game day, everyone. We are live for our team news reaction. I'm Anton. I'm joined by Stell and a good friend of ours, Sean. Sean, how are you? How are you feeling about today's game?
Good. Excited.
Yeah, it's kind of become real now, isn't it? It's
I know. 105 days. Of football.
It's been a little while. So, of course, we're coming to you live. I'm going to give you some team news reaction now. I believe some of us have seen the team today, and I think there's a lot of social media accounts starting to break the news as we speak. So I'll pass over to yourself, Sean, if you want to kind of give us a little bit of info, if you're happy to.
Yeah, well, obviously we're only a few minutes to go, so it doesn't make too much difference to Wolves. But Fabianski in goal, as we all expected. That's when the changes happen. Jeremy Ngakia starting today, despite his contract ending in 2 weeks' time. I don't think Ryan Fredericks was seen to be fit enough. Rice starting in centre of defence with Diop. That tells you what the gaffer thinks of another central defender who is fit, by the way. Cresswell starting at left back. In front of that, Mark Noble and Thomas Souček, defensive midfielders. And then we've got Fornals in centre of midfield. Who am I leaving out?
You've got Bowen, Souček, Noble.
Bowen, of course, with him. And then up front, and this is the important news, Philippe Anderson and Antonio, because Allaire is unfortunately injured.
He's injured?
Got a small groin issue, I think. Yeah.
Right. Interesting.
Good. Hi, Alf. We've just announced the news, mate, just to let you know.
Hello, mate. All right,
the news there you go. Fabianski and Ngakia, Rice, Diop, Cresswell, Noble, Souček, Fornals, Bowen, Anderson, and Antonio.
Now,
wow, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, let's look at let's kind of dissect that team. We all know Fabianski is going to be there. Ngakia, I think we had done a preview last night. Still, we spoke about Ngakia, and a suspicion he would start. And I think, is that a kind of clear message to the fans? Do we think this is a clear message to the fans, or do we think this is Ngakia? We do think you are going to serve the club well, so we're going to show you that by giving you a start. What do we think in this?
I think it must mean that Moyes is confident that he can get Ngakia to sign a contract. Unless he's hedging his bets and thinking, you're laughing, Sean. You know something.
Yeah. Look, it's a simple, right? You could speculate all you want, but I don't think Ngakia is staying. The only reason Ngakia is staying is I understand he's being touted around the Premier League at the moment. If they can't get the offer they want, they might come back with their tail between their legs in 2 weeks' time and go, all right, we'll take your offer.
So do you think
the real reason he's starting today is it's a long 5 weeks with 9 games. They're not sure with Fredericks and Johnson, both coming back from long injuries. They just don't want to risk them. They've got Ngakia for 2 games, and they think he's up to it, and they're going to use it for that 2 games. There is also a bit of flattery in saying, Guy, look, you're starting first tonight. Why don't you stay? And maybe I'll start you first for next season as well. So there's a little bit of flattery, but really, I understand it's pure risk. We do not want to risk our 2 right backs. We've got one player who's good enough for the next 2 games, and then we've got then 7 games after that, hoping that Fredericks and Johnson are up to speed by then, to be honest.
Fair enough.
I mean, I think I said last night to you, still, like, Ngakia still has approximately over a week to decide what he's going to do. So in theory, he's still not technically doing anything wrong. He's just being judged. And he's doing the right. I mean, he's a young lad. I mean, all the footballers these days are doing it, trying to get themselves the best contract that they possibly can. But he finished off before pre-pandemic. He finished off well. He was looking good. Now I know there's talks about other players are potentially favoured over him, but still, I've still got to look at what we saw. We saw a player who was a young player who came on and held his own within some of the best teams that we played against, in particular the Liverpool game. So if there is a chance that he stays, and he does stay, I'm not against it, and I'm quite glad to see him play today because he was playing and he was the regular, and if he's turned up for training, done his job, I'm pretty adamant. If he was sulking, Sean, and he wouldn't be getting in this side under the Moyes regime.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think you're right, and look, I think it surprised everyone, but there was a little hint. We knew Ogbonna was struggling. The hint was last Saturday, wasn't it? And we spoke about this. So that he came on for the last 30 minutes and scored a goal. There was the biggest hint that he was going to be involved today. So it shouldn't really come as a surprise.
I think maybe if you look at this team, I mean, now that you've said that Allaire is actually carrying a knock or groin injury, that's understandable. And I'm quite glad in a way that he's put Anderson in there to play alongside Antonio. It doesn't come as a surprise that Balbuena hasn't been picked and he's gone for Rice. And ironically, we've talked about that over the past few weeks.
Doesn't fancy him. Is what I hear.
But as Anton has said, Rice is probably our best central defender there. So for me, I get what you're saying, Sean, about the right back. I get Ngakia being in there. I understand what you've just said. It's going to be I mean, you've seen players in the first few games who have kind of fallen by the wayside because it's been so long since they played. So I think we're all relieved in a way that we got 5 subs. But I still think it's. I get it, but I still think that's the surprise of this first 11 today. The Ngakia.
Oh! Live! Arsenal just scored.
Oh, that's good for us.
That's good for us.
That is very good.
I said that about Watford earlier, and I jinxed it. And obviously,
and then 2 seconds later.
68 minutes.
With regard to
going to be using the sub.
What you say
again?
Alf?
I said, we got 5 subs. Do you think Moyes is going to be using those subs, all those 5 subs?
Well, if you look at the game, what was the game in the week? Was it the Arsenal Man City game? They were dropping like flies, so they were forced to use subs.
Because this is one of the things I'm just concerned about, that they're going into the game and they're not fully fit. I remember saying in one of the videos many moons ago now that it would be almost like a travesty that the season starts and none of these players are match fit. So, I mean, Pep Guardiola was going on about it the other night, wasn't he? So, it's only 3 weeks training, for the players. I'll say, okay, maybe that's 3 weeks training altogether, but they should be, fit enough to be running around for 90 minutes.
Just want to confirm that the club are currently giving us the official lineup, which is what we already have guessed. So, so far,
what a good lucky guess.
So I wonder how many subs will be used and which players are likely to be subbed in this game. And is it based on their match performance? If they're having a shocker, they'll probably be pulled off. But actually, more importantly, are they fit enough to play the full 90 minutes? And I suppose I'm looking at the likes of, which I'm not surprised, Noble is starting. I actually said the other night, I think I'd be very surprised if Moyes leaves him out. But I'm just wondering if he can last the full 90 minutes.
Yeah, I doubt most players will. Rice will. And some of the other youngsters. But interestingly, Alf, I think we've both been right in our team selections, because I know you said, we can't start without Noble. And I kind of suggested we need an attacking lineup. And ironically, I think we got the best of both, because by the pure fact that Rice has been put in as centre-back, it's actually given Moyes the opportunity to play quite an attack-minded formation. With Bowen, Anderson, Antonio, and Fornals, all attack-minded players, but you've still got that security of Noble, Souček, and Rice sitting behind them.
Do you know what?
Thank God he's not gone 3-5-2. Thank God.
The biggest surprise for me in this lineup is Anderson, to be quite honest with you.
Not for me.
I was convinced that he was going to be on the subs bench.
Well, funny you should say the subs bench. I'm just looking at the subs bench because when you were talking that, I was looking whether Carlos Sanchez was on there. So of course you've got 9 now. He's not. So I was going to say, if Noble gets tired, Carlos Sanchez was here for the rescue. We've got
Thank
Jack
God for that.
Wilshere, Manuel Lanzini, Bawana, Darren Randolph, Ben Johnson, Yarmolenko, Andre Zante Silva, Ajeti and Ryan Fredericks on the bench. So
That's not a bad
Sanchez.
bench.
No,
It's
it's
not a bad bench, is it?
Yeah.
Listen, something we have to do, though, is we have to kind of go back to the Rice situation, because that's a big, bold move by Moyes. Something I think a lot of us have been calling for as fans. He does offer that calm, collected approach at the back. He is, in my opinion, the player we've been missing in the back for a long time. We've not had a player like that who can keep the erratic Ogbonna and erratic Diop under control. He's the level-headed guy at the back, and I really think that's a really good move by Moyes to do that. He didn't need to do that today. I know you're saying, Sean, that maybe Balbuena's not fancied, etc., but he still could have gone with the centre half. But having Rice in the ranks and having the ability to drop him back, I always think back to the Tottenham game when he pulled Diop off and dropped Rice back. That was the reason why West Ham came back into the game that day, was because there was no pressure on the back four anymore. And they were a lot more solid at the back. So I really think that's a really strong move by Moyes there. But going into the midfield, I mean, Fornals, Bowen, Anderson, Antonio, with the protection of Noble and Souček, the box to box. I mean, it does look pretty nice, does it not?
It does. I like the team. And I think if Allaire had been fit and it was in place of Anderson, I would have still been happy. I'm quite glad that just by that one tactical move that he's made by putting Rice at the back, he's accommodating a team that I think a lot of fans will be happy with, very happy with.
Because you can't really see a West Ham starting lineup without Rice. Rice is pretty much number one on the list, isn't he?
Yeah.
So if you have him in midfield alongside Noble or whoever, also alongside Souček, then you're right. You kind of take away an attacking player really to accommodate Rice. So having him in the back four actually works a lot better, really, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I'm just looking at the team news for Wolves.
I'm bringing it up for you just now. If you give me 2 seconds there.
Well, I'll name them while you bring it up.
My two Wolves mates will be very happy.
Patricio in goal, Bolly, Cody, and Sace as back three. Doherty, Neves, Johnny, Moutinho, and Dendonka. Very strong midfield. Jimenez and Jota up front. So Traore doesn't start, but so what? Look at the rest of that team.
That's a good strong side by Wolves.
Very strong team.
The powerhouse of Traore is. I mean, is he on the bench?
He's on the bench. Yeah, he's on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, so they're playing. They're playing
a 3-5-2, as you would have expected from Wolves. So we're not gonna have it easy. Well, we never do. We haven't, lost our last three against them, haven't we? So, but they've got a very, very strong midfield, and I think with the greatest of respect to Noble, the reason why I worry about Noble playing is when you've got a midfield like they have, they could run rings around Noble. I'm afraid, and that's what worries me. That's what worries me.
True. I get your point there, Stel, about Noble, and that's why I think he's a 50, 60-minute player for us in this game. But what I don't think that we have instead of Noble is any kind of leadership apart from Rice, and Rice is a young lad. The rest of those players on there will just go walking. They'll lose their focus during the game. I think in the first half an hour, I think Noble's going to be crucial in this game, actually. And then second half, take him off and let somebody else come on. But I think you're right. I think the class of Wolves is going to be a real issue for us today.
Yeah, I mean, there's three. I don't know much about Johnny, but certainly Neves, Moutinho, and Dendonka. Very good players. I mean, we were after two of those players, weren't we?
Yeah, we were. Well, Dendonka, definitely.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we are going to be coming along live to you with a watch along. Before we do go, though, just to round it off, why not? Sean, what's your predictions for today's game?
1-0 West Ham.
1-0 West Ham. I'll take that. Just to let you know, Brighton have equalised against Arsenal.
Oh, Sean, you've done it again.
Yeah. Thanks, Sean. Al, predictions, mate.
Well, considering Watford got a point earlier on, I think they did, didn't they? So they're above us now. We definitely need a win. 2-1 us.
2-1 West Ham.
I'm
Stel,
very optimistic.
Stel, have you changed from last night?
I'm sticking to 2-2. I want us to win.
Do you know
so
that
long
was
as
my
we
first thought as well.
So long as we don't lose. Don't lose.
Yeah, a point is a good point, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm still sticking to my 3-1 victory. So
here we go.
There you go. Here's a prediction. 4-0.
Please.
So Sean, thanks.
I thought I was delusional.
Thanks for the news there. That was good. Let's hope that we can make a difference from our couches and send the positive vibes all the way to the London Stadium. But listen, before we do go, I do like the claret covers over the seats, and I really hope, and I don't think it'll ever happen, but I really hope they change the colour of those seats because, in my opinion, it makes such a difference. What's your thoughts?
Well, it shouldn't do. If you fill every single seat, as people have said this, if you fill every single seat, you won't see the seats on match day, so it doesn't make a difference.
Well,
right?
You know, funny, Sean, you say that though, but every time you go to Old Trafford, every time you go to the Etihad, every time you go to,
because they're always empty.
No, there's always empty seats, but it's never noticeable though because the colour just sits in nicely.
I get that, but the problem is it's like 50 or 75 quid a seat. That's a lot of seats, and West Ham would have to pay for it. I think we'd rather spend the money on something else than seat colour. I don't.
No, you're valid point. It does look good though, and it makes it feel a little bit more homely, I suppose.
Is your face up there? There are 3,800 faces on those two mosaics in the East Stand, by the way. They're going to release a picture next week. You'll be able to zoom in. I assume that none of you are one of the 16 special people chosen to be on a Zoom call on the big screens today.
No.
I
didn't even enter.
Are you one of the chosen few?
I'm not one of the chosen. No.
Well, we'll see you on the watch along later then.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll see you guys later.
Yep. So listen, if you're tuning in just now, make sure you tune into our channel. We'll be back on in about 35 minutes to give you the start of the watch along. We'll just be chatting, having a bit of fun as we go along, and fingers crossed we get a good result. So thank you very much for tuning in. I've been Anton, he's been Stel, he's been Sean, and he's been Alf. Thank you. Come on, you irons.
Up the hammers.
Come on, you irons.